Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. 2nd and 8. Favre 11 to the 20 and knocked backward.
Look at this story here of the two different quarters. In the first quarter, Green Bay only had 9 yards. In the second quarter, they had 72. Dallas had 128 in the first quarter, and they've only had 1 yard here in the second quarter.
That's amazing.
And then Green Bay, has to take advantage of that. I mean, if their quarter is the second quarter, they got to get the ball in the end zone.
3rd and 6, and they got to do it.
Get a first down
right now. Favre drops to throw it. Has all kinds of time and misses. Intended for Corey Bradford, who had no shot.
And as you say, he had plenty of time, and he just couldn't find anyone open. Here's Corey Bradford out here. Kevin Smith is on him, and Corey Bradford doesn't get open. See, he shouldn't be putting his hands up anyway. Just ought to run the pattern. Brett Favre will be back there, and if you get open, he'll usually see you. You don't have to be waving your hands.
And he'll usually hit you. That time he didn't.
Because the coverage held it too long. It came open, but too late.
38 yards away, Ryan Longwell. And his field goal is good, and he gets the Packers finally on the scoreboard. It's 7-3 Dallas. Ray Rhodes, frustrating time for him and the Packers. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader when the NFC Central leading Lions battle Antonio Freeman and the Packers. Then the Giants clash with Brad Johnson and the Redskins. Coverage begins with the pregame show at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific.
And we get to see the St. Louis Rams next week, and I've seen a lot of them on highlights and heard a lot about them, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
We'll be at the 49ers home next week. This is Tucker, and down he goes just short of the 20. They must be pretty good, the Rams.
Well, I know one thing. I know that Kurt Warner, their quarterback's having a great year. I know that they have a lot of speed on offense, and just wondering how they're getting it done in other areas. But I've known Dick Vermeil for a long time, as you have, and you know that whatever. He's a bulldog, and he gets on something, and he's going to stick with it, and he has stuck with this. Neither one of these teams that we're looking at here today, the Cowboys or the Green Bay Packers, remind you of the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers of just 3 or 4 years ago.
These two don't frighten you too much, do they? Here's Chris Warren. Warren just lopes for a first down.
And and they're having the same problems. I mean, like Dallas will look good for a while, and then they look like they pull in the throttle. Green Bay will move the ball a little, and then they can't get it in the end zone. You wonder how the NFL finds a guy like from a place like Ferrum, a guy like Chris Warren. They don't miss him from any place anymore. But he's been in the league for 10 years.
Ferrum College is in Virginia.
And he says, it's up by this and that, and then all the places he knew, I didn't know.
And then he said, you said, what's their football budget? And he said, about the same thing it was when I was there.
He said, that's the problem they have now, and that's the problem they had when he was there at Ferrum. Got the same budget.
1st and 10. After that run by Warren. Here's Jason Garrett back to throw it and going deep. And caught by Eric Bjornsson. Not heard of for some time. Bjornsson, about the only time we mentioned his name is when he holds.
Yeah, and Chan Gailey was saying that he was going to work him into the game more because he's losing some receivers. He puts Bjornsson, who's normally a tight end or H-back, split out to the outside. Darren Sharper's on a man-to-man, and Jason Garrett dropped that one in there perfectly.
32-yard pickup from Garrett to Bjornsson. Can't remember ever saying that before. Here's Warren to the 30.
You know, I think they finally figured out that Bjornsson, isn't a tight end. You know, they tried to use him as a tight end, and you know, he's just not big enough. They tried to get him bigger and all those things, and it didn't work, so they let him just be his normal size. He's not a real big guy, so he can kind of be that tweener. You know, not big enough to be a tight end, but you know, you can put him in the slot, split him out, do those kinds of things to him.
They tried him as an H-back, and he just doesn't block well enough to be an H-back.
No, he's just not big enough. You can see his helmet doesn't even go over all of his head.
Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. All the scores, the highlights from around the league, some unusual scores. Fox Sports Ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. I wonder why we always say JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. Why does it have to be in that order?
I don't know.
Too tough, huh? 7-3 the Cowboys. They pick up the blitz. Bjornsson again, the target.
Bjornsson looked like he didn't even know the ball was coming.
That's right.
He didn't think he was open. He didn't think that Jason Garrett would throw it to him. And Jason Garrett said, heck, we did it on the right side. Let's try it on the left side. So he goes over there, and he did have a step there for a while. And he looked like he lost the ball.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett takes a hit. I mean, that's why a quarterback has to be a tough guy. And, you know, you think of quarterbacks as kind of fancy, but that's a tough act when you have a linebacker right in your face and you have to step right into a throw.
Most of the time when you get hit, you have no chance to get ready for it. Pass caught by Ismail.
And then again, the Cowboys are going to run in here and try and get a field goal.
Richie Cunningham has missed 3 out of his last 4. He's really had a tough year.
They're going to be able to get it off. They got plenty of time to get this off.
Bjornsson holding, 44 yards out for Cunningham. Could be. Yes, sir. Richie Cunningham finally hits. And that should do him a world of good.
He's carrying him off. Maybe he needs that where he doesn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Maybe so. 10-3 at the half. The Cowboys lead Green Bay.
Fox Big Win Sunday.